My journey started off when I was in university, studying to be an accountant. This is when I built my first business on eBay. I then went on to be an accountant, working full-time in London City, so that I can understand how businesses operate in terms of the marketing department, HR, customer service, etc. So I was able to get an insight into how businesses operate. So one of the first tips before I get into the free tips is that don't be afraid of going to work. Use a 9-to-5 job as an opportunity to learn how businesses actually operate, because if I didn't go and work, I wouldn't be able to run the business that I run right now. So the first tip I want to give you before we get into the 3 main tips is, if you're working in a company right now, wherever you're working, try and learn how the accounting department is structured, who works in the accounting department. Have you got the financial accountant, the accounts payable? See who works in the marketing department as well, what their role is, what are they doing? Have you got a digital marketer? Have you got someone that specializes in SEO? Have you got someone that specializes in Instagram, social media? Try and understand the structure of the company you're working in, because this will give you some sort of insight to building your business. Don't take eBay as a hobby. Take eBay as a serious business, because you're investing your money into building it. If you want a full breakdown on me in terms of building my business from start to finish on eBay, comment it down below and I might make that video next. So for now, I'm going to jump into these 3 tips. Let's go. First tip that I want to get into is to realize that it is possible and that you are able to make a full-time living on eBay. During the beginning stages of me trying to sell on eBay, I didn't think it was actually possible. I was trying, I knew people were selling on eBay, but I didn't understand the financial benefit that I could get from selling on eBay. But one day I did my research and I found out that people were making millions of pounds. So I put my full effort into it from that point. If people can make millions of pounds in sales per month, what's to stop me from making 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 pounds per month? And since then, I've been able to do multiple 6 figures. So the first tip I want to give you is to realize that it is possible, and the sooner that you realize it's possible, you're going to be able to have a different outlook on it, a different mindset, and apply yourself knowing that you can make a full-time living on eBay. Right now, I'm full-time. I quit my job 3 years ago and I've been full-time ever since. I've got a couple employees now, and that all came from me knowing that it was possible to achieve it on eBay. So just to summarize, tip number 1 is that you need to know that it's possible to do it. You need to realize that people are making a full-time income from selling on eBay. And once you realize this, you're going to be able to take the steps necessary for you to achieve it for yourself. All right, so let's move on to tip number 2. All right, so the second thing that I had to realize when it came to selling on eBay is that I needed to understand how eBay actually worked. And for me, I had a bit of an advantage because I've been shopping on eBay since I was in secondary school. So I kind of understand what it takes to market to the customers on eBay. I understood how to take pictures, how to set up listings, how to do all these things. So if you haven't really shopped on eBay before, I would advise that you shop on eBay and get an understanding of the process that the customer goes through from start to finish in terms of searching for the item, looking at various different items, looking at the listing, looking at the picture. Understand that process, because once you understand that process, you'll be able to set up your store in a way that you'll be able to convert non-paying customers into paying customers. So this is the second tip that I had to learn. I had to learn the customer journey, what the customer goes through, so that I can optimize my store in the best possible way. So that's tip number 2. Understand how the platform works, understand how customers think on eBay. You also need to be familiar with the feedback system, how to maintain your feedback on eBay so that you don't get negative feedback and ruin your store. You need to understand that customers are looking out for that. In a nutshell, you just need to understand the customer journey and how the eBay platform is different from other platforms. So that's it for tip number 2. Let's move on to tip number 3. These are one of the things that I realized whilst I was working my 9-to-5 job just before I quit, is that you need to have a certain level of commitment when it comes to selling on eBay. You need to be ready to take the action necessary. If you're learning from YouTube, if you're learning from me, if you're learning from someone else, you can't just sit and then just absorb all the information. You need to go out there and take the action necessary for you to build your business on eBay. For a long time, I was going to work every single day. I didn't really like it. I didn't really like waking up every day at a certain time, getting on the train, but I wasn't taking the action needed for me to grow my business until one day I realized, you know what? I actually want to succeed at eBay. Let me do everything necessary for me to grow this business. So that's my third tip to you guys, is to take the action, be committed. If you want to succeed at eBay, focus on eBay. If you want to succeed at something else, focus on that. You got to have a certain level of focus and discipline to seeing it through to the end. So these are one of the things that I realized before I went full-time on eBay, is that I needed to have a certain level of commitment. And that level of commitment that you're going to have before you quit your job is the same one that you're going to need after you quit. Every single day, I'm focused on building my business, looking for new products, building new eBay stores, building brands, expanding those brands over to Shopify, continuously learning marketing, digital marketing, SEO. When it comes to building anything online, you're gonna have to continuously keep growing and learning. You gotta be committed to learning, committed to taking action, committed to being focused. And if you could do those things, you're gonna have a higher chance of succeeding with anything that you need to do in life. So that's the third and final tip. You know what, guys, I got one more tip for you, a bonus tip. And this is a mistake that I see a lot of people making on eBay. I get a lot of DMs all the time. People always send me their stores for me to look at. And one thing that I realize is that people don't brand their stores in the right way. People do not build up their feedback to 100 before they start selling. And they don't use custom eBay templates to have a high chance of succeeding. So these are the final tips that I want to leave you with. If you guys are not branding your store in the right way and building up your feedback to 100 before you start selling on eBay, you're gonna have lower chances of succeeding. So make sure that you build your store to 100. Make sure that you use a custom template. Make sure you use the right company name for your eBay store that's linked to the product that you're trying to sell. So hopefully you'll be able to make adjustments moving forward if you're doing anything wrong. I'm sure that you're going to be able to shorten your learning curve using these 3 tips that I've given you. But bear in mind, building a business on eBay is not limited to these 3 tips. There's a lot more that goes into it. If you want a step-by-step understanding of building a business on eBay, check the link down below in the pinned comment or the first link in the description down below. That's going to give you a full understanding, a full step-by-step breakdown of how you need to approach building a business on eBay. Right now I'm doing eBay full time. I build brands on eBay. I then expand those brands over to Shopify and build a website around them. But this is how I live full time. I've been able to quit my job 2 years ago. So check the link down below in the pinned comment if you want to learn more about building a business on eBay. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to press the like button as it helps out the channel in a big, massive way. Go down below, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss the weekly videos that I'm going to be bringing, helping you make money on either eBay or Shopify. Comment down below as well what you thought of the video. If you liked it, let me know. And if you've got any video ideas of what you want to see, comment it down below right now. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Peace.